morning, everyone. We will call the BZA meeting to order at
4:30.
4:30 p.m.
It's 4:30.
It's still 4:30.
Will Faulkner,
Here.
Emmy Sorrells,
Here.
Letitia Smith,
Here,
Marty Heffron, Mary Boyd,
here.
Charles Danbury Jr.
Here. All right, so just kind of with the resignation of the chair, we're gonna need with the open seat. We're gonna have to move the elections to other business, but also since Marty's out, I'm gonna need you to recognize the two supernumeraries and acknowledge that they'll be voting today in today's decision.
All right. Okay, so the two supernumeraries who will be participating today will be Mary Boyd as well as Charles Danbury Jr. And I am Letitia Smith, who is acting as the vice chair today until we take official business later in the elections in the absence of Frost Rollins. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, I guess we can go ahead and move to.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I guess we need to go ahead and move and accept the minutes.
Can I
Yeah.
get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
I will make the motion to approve minutes from March.
Second?
Will Faulkner,
Yes.
Emmy Sorrells,
Yes.
Letitia Smith,
Yes.
Mary Boyd,
Yes.
Charles Danbury Jr.
Yes.
All right, I will proceed with the chairman's opening remarks. Any persons aggrieved by any decision of the board may within 15 days after such decision appeal to the circuit court having jurisdiction according to section 908.02 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Auburn, Alabama. The board consists of 5 regular members and 2 supernumeraries. The supernumeraries participate in all discussions but only vote when necessary to assure 4 voting members and have a board consisting of 5 members when possible. All decisions are made with a roll call vote, and the concurring vote of 4 members is required to approve an application for a variance. Right? If there is no further ado, we will move to our new business for today, which is BZ 2025-002.
No, it should be.
Oh, I think it's 003.
Oh, I'm sorry, 003. Right.
Had 3 whole cases.
Get this up a little higher. All right. So this request is for a variance to allow for a carport forward of the front plane of the principal structure located at 741 Kentwood Drive in the NC 84 zoning district. This is a variance to section 511.03 accessory use limitations, which states that accessory structures relating to residential uses shall be placed no less than 10 feet to the rear of the front building line. Here you can see on the prox map on 3 sides, it is surrounded by the same zoning, NC 84, and to the west is touching the rural zoning district, which is also a part of the Lake Wilmore Community Center area. So we move to the site plan, and the carport that this variance is about. The proposed carport is outlined right there in red. As you can see, the numbers are pretty small, but from the closest point that the principal structure is to the front property line is about 110.4 feet, and the closest that the carport would be located to the front property line is 71.7 feet. So this would mean that the furthest point in front of the front plane of the building to the principal structure would be 38.7 feet in front, and when you add on the additional 10 feet that we require it to be placed behind that building line, it's a total of 48.7 feet, rounded up to 49 feet. The grounds stated by the applicant is that there is a significant portion of this property located in the floodplain, as you can see from this image, especially behind that front plane of the building line. And the location of this dwelling in particular, when it relates to the floodplain, provides limited options for this detached carport to be constructed without it having to be constructed in the floodplain. And though this building type is technically allowed to be constructed within the floodplain, there are a lot of limitations that arise when we're talking about grading the property because of how the elevations sit. So the applicant claims that this feature creates a hardship and warrants a variance. The variance, if it was granted, would allow for a carport forward 38.7 feet or 39 feet, like listed in the staff report, in front of the front plane of the building of the principal structure, which would also mean it was located outside of the floodplain completely. If there are any specific questions about the floodplain and the limitations towards grading and everything, we do have our inspection services director, John Hoare, over here to answer those very specific questions, and I can answer anything as well, if related.
I actually do have a question. So as I was reading here and as you just stated, so a carport can be built in a floodplain.
Yes, a carport, so this is what they turned in as an example of what they'd be building. There's 4 posts that it wouldn't have any walls per se, and because it doesn't have at least 2 walls, it can be built within the floodplain according to the National Flood Insurance Program's manual. But again, when you're building a carport, you do have grading that's now required when you're putting a slab down or anything, so when you're pouring anything. So that is the reason that they're seeking to build outside of the floodplain, because our codes have a conflict.
Okay.
We have 2 different zones for the floodplain as well. Do we know which one?
I'm sorry?
The survey shows sort of a different edge of the floodplain from that map.
Yeah. So, so are you talking about the change in the floodplain from the survey to the one current? Yeah. So over, I guess, at the top of this year in January, the new floodplain maps came out, and in some places they retreated, and in other places they increased. On this property, they increased, and so I guess whatever difference you're seeing is probably related to the 2025 update of the floodplain.
So
of
the
new
survey is
floodplain.
older in this case?
Yeah, I guess we could have the applicant confirm that, but yeah.
I believe the survey was from 2024 originally, maybe a little sooner than that. That's when we first kind of saw this application come in, but
It is
it did
2025.
grow significantly towards the property line on the front, so it made it even more of an issue.
Were there any communications from neighbors?
No
That's good.
communications from anyone besides the applicant.
I'm stuck on language.
Okay.
So, you used the word, there's a disconnect, I think, between the language and how to define a floodplain and the fact that a carport can be built in a floodplain, yet it can't be built in a floodplain because you can't level it. You can't do the appropriate grading and leveling to build a carport. So does that not constitute a hardship?
Yeah, so I guess kind of the structure itself, right? Like the roof post with a roof over it, that can be built. From where the conflict comes in is pouring concrete and then having to level it, and then that's where the conflict and the constraints of the floodplain are then applied.
Correct. Okay.
So I guess, John, did you have anything that you want to add to that?
That's basically it, but they were gonna have to backfill into the floodplain to level the slab
To
out.
build it up.
Which then sorry, not used to this. To level out the slab for the carport, they would have to backfill into the floodplain, which would then displace that water that needs to go there somewhere else. So somewhere else downstream would have to take up that extra water.
Okay.
Thank you, that clears it.
Mm.
Any other questions?
Awesome. Thanks.
Is the applicant here?
That's me. I'm acting on behalf of him, so I can answer any questions you guys have about that.
Would you like to come forward and present any information?
I think he did a pretty good job. Everything he showed is what I've got, so.
Okay, so,
That's great.
I'm opening the public, hearing, a meeting, if anyone else has anything to say in support. Okay, Seeing now, we will close the public portion of the meeting and we will discuss, open it for board discussion. All right.
I mean, it's pretty cut and
Makes
dry.
sense to me, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 'cause it makes sense to me too. Like, I think this is one where there actually is a hardship, however, it's, you know,
You can't control the floodplain.
you can't control that. And
Should've done
obviously,
one.
the floodplain has now even further impacted the house. Like, I think backfilling that to the inspector's thing would actually make things worse possibly going forward for, you know, someone else. I think it's reasonable use of the property to have that sitting right there. I mean, it sits far enough back off. We're not worried about we're not encroaching on the front property setbacks either with that, so.
Or the sides, so.
Pretty minimal structure.
Yeah, and a minimal structure too.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance for BZ 2025-03.
I will second that.
Okay.
Will Faulkner,
Yes.
Emmy Silvers,
Yes.
Letitia Smith,
Yes.
Mary Boyd,
Yes.
Charles Danbury Jr.
Yes.
That's our only item of business for today. So we will, at least new business, so we will move into the next portion, which is other business. And as you have heard via email and conversation, that Frost Rollins has decided to step down from the chair position for personal reasons. So we need to move into an election process to get a new chair, which may create a position for vice chair, and then we will go from there.
Well, I would like to make a motion to nominate Letitia Smith to move from current vice chair to the chair position if she is willing.
I am willing.
I'll second that.
Will Faulkner,
Yes.
Emmy Sorrells,
Yes.
Letitia Smith,
Yes.
Mary Boyd, Charles Danbury Jr.
Yes.
Now, don't everybody jump at once. Vice chair.
I'll make a motion for Amy Sorrells to be vice chair.
Second.
Will
Nobody
Faulkner,
asked me if I was willing to do that.
Amy, are you willing?
I'm willing to do it, yes.
Yes.
Will Faulkner,
Yes.
Emmy Sorrells,
Yes.
Letitia Smith,
Yes.
Mary Boyd, Charles Danbury Jr.
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations. Now, you will attend 100% of the meetings going forward, correct? Because did you hear what I did last week? Like, I just did not know what I was doing at all last month.
Hey, you know, that happened to me on the very first case of the year. All right, any other, communications?
Yeah. So as far as filling the position, it wasn't announced at last night's council meeting, so it will be announced at the next council meeting. And so then applicants will people who want to apply will have the opportunity to apply. There's an interview process. They just submit their application. So you guys will be notified, and I guess we'll probably have training for that person. But I'd say probably expect them to come on in the next coming months. So that's something that's going to be, like I said, be on the next council item. So
I would like to also add that supernumeraries are required to apply. And I say that because in the past, there has been lost on supernumeraries and positions were filled and supernumeraries did not apply. So I want to put that on the record.
cool.
We would encourage our supernumeraries to apply.
Any staff communications? Anything else?
No, that's really it. I don't think we've gotten any variance applications. Yeah.
Afraid.
Yeah.
One tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have. Like I said, I think we'll be working to fill the new position soon. So
All right, if there's no other information, then we will adjourn the meeting. Where's the time?
At 4:44.
4:45.
At 4:44 p.m.